Okay, welcome everybody. Um, we in a few minutes we're gonna have our official CJ, but we have a gentleman who has been blazing the trail in terms of the social media, in particular LinkedIn. And just 2 weeks ago, in our management meeting for Organo Gold, our Blue Diamond highlighted Winston, who, I mean, when he started to talk, even the diamonds were taking notes. I mean, he's blazed a trail um, for us to follow. And so I contacted Winston and he graciously agreed to come and spend some time with the team. He's a man in demand now based off of whatever that's right. Started to line up. So he told me I won't start today. So I said, look, I'm taking it. Right. So whoever is here, we're going to record and spend the most things at the time. But you know, publicly I want to recognize Winston for what I heard. I mean, he's emulating a lot of things we read about in Napoleon Hill. He's actually living it. And so we feel very honored to have a future crown ambassador. And we see the journey. This is all your journey evolving on the road here, right? And we're certainly going to be walking alongside that.
Right? Which so it isn't a lonely journey.
That's right. All right, so take it away.
So, first of all, Oliver, Paul, and everybody else here, thank you for taking, or should I say, inviting me, for come and presenting their team. Truly an honor. Very humbled. I do not take this opportunity for granted. Very quickly, because I'm told a lot of times, so I'm just get right into it. The platform that I use to prospect and recruit people online is LinkedIn. And there's a particular reason why I use LinkedIn, because I started out using Facebook. One of the things I realized is that Facebook is more a social platform. It's more like a, make friends type of platform. But LinkedIn is a more professional platform for business people. So immediately I recognized that, approaching people on LinkedIn made more sense. Now, before we even get into the technical know-how, I mean, there are a lot of things. Mr. Oliver Mayer mentioned how our Blue Diamond, Mr. Wilson, highlighted me. Basically, the person that I partnered with in Kenya was the first sapphire out of his group out of Kenya. I can tell you that was something I consider something divine. It really is divine. Because they always say it's a numbers game. And I was just sharing with Oliver earlier that I actually approached about close to 1,000 people. Exposed in terms of people who saw presentation about 200 to 300, about 50 to 60 said yes, still saying yes, but not sign up, but still saying yes to this day. And only one or two, I should say, two actually got started, and one of those two went so far in less than 30 days. But to get right to it, yes, two got started, and one went so far. One of the things I
just to call here. Yes, 50 or 60 people that have said yes.
Yeah.
So there are seeds planted.
Okay.
Yes.
Which means that there's a basis now for reaping in another couple of weeks or a couple more.
Well, that is true. It's funny you should say that, because I have another young lady in Kenya who actually went to the Super Saturday training they had there, and she's like, I'm in. But she's actually supposed to be doing a meeting with Mr. Lufa tomorrow morning. And I'm expecting great things from her as well. So, we can't get into the whole belief and faith, but that's another thing. LinkedIn profile, that's the first thing. It has to have a professional look. It has to speak business. The way how I look at it is, if someone was approaching me to be the CEO of their company, to run their company, and they should actually go on my LinkedIn profile, would I be impressive to them? Would I be able to attract them to say, yes, this is the type of person we want representing our company? So having a professional profile is definitely a must. That's the first thing. The second thing is, how do you really decide who to approach in the business in terms of introduce to the business? For me personally, I only approach forecheckers only. And for those who don't know what forecheckers in this particular business that we're in simply means people who have influence, meaning, if they say, hey, meet me here at X place, they can actually draw a crowd to a venue and know a lot of people. People who are self-starters, meaning that you don't have to pump them up, they are self-motivated, so they can just get up and just work without being inspired or motivated by anyone. People who are coachable and teachable, that no matter how much success they've actually had in their previous careers or business, they'll still be able to come over to this platform and realize that this is new to me, I don't know anything, so let me follow those who have success in the business. People who can actually find a way to get started at one of the parts that we have in this business. So that's a forechecker. And the reason why I have approached forecheckers is for 3 reasons. First of all, forecheckers typically are people who have current success. Current success simply means that it's very unlikely that it's by chance that they've gotten to the position they've gotten to, whether in a job or owning their own business. So probably if it's a marketing manager in a company, or if it's someone who has been an entrepreneur, not necessarily just break in, but even profits, no matter how small percentage, is still considered current success. So one of the things that I realized with that is they have the right mindset and the right attitude, the right positive attitude that's necessary to be successful in this particular business, in Organo Gold. So it's very easy for them to transform or transition that success principle, because success is really principles, into the current business of Organo Gold. So that's the first thing. The second thing is typically they would more than likely manage or lead a team, which means they have experience in leadership, which as you know is one of the biggest things in Organo Gold, developing leaders.
Right.
So and which means they understand team dynamics, they understand how to inspire and motivate people to get the job done, which is very important. The second thing I look for in terms of the criteria of what determines a forechecker is if they have previous success. And the reason why previous success is important is, as I said, it's most likely if somebody has current success, it's not by chance, but there are times when it may be by chance. They'll probably end up in a job and they just move the right people and get into that position. But if somebody can start out at even a mid-level manager position and actually make the way up to an executive or director level position, then that's not by chance. It means that 1, they've created a success. 2, they've recreated a success, which means they know exactly what they did to get to where they are now, which means they can still bring that over to Organo Gold and then recreate yet another success in Organo Gold. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, how long have they been in their current position of, I would call it, leadership. And the reason why that is important is it means that they have experience in leadership, because it's very easy for someone to start out at a position, at a job, and within 6 months to a year, they be promoted to a mid-level managerial position. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they have experience in leadership, because they never led a team before. So this is actually their first time. So if someone has been in their job 2, 3, 5 years in a mid-level managerial, it simply means that they actually have experience in people, which is important. So it's not second guessing. They actually know what they're doing. The other thing that tells me is, in terms of how long they've been in that position, is their performance. And if a company hires someone at a managerial level, especially, they're not going to keep the person if they're not performing. So the longer they've been in that position, it tells how long they've actually been either maintaining their level of performance as satisfactory or outperforming that expectation of their employer. And the final thing it tells me is their commitment to what they're doing. Because it's very easy for somebody to end up in several positions, in 6, 7 positions in the space of 2 years, which simply tells me that they're not necessarily committed. And commitment, in my opinion, is probably the most important thing in Organo Gold. It's not talent, it's not skill, it's not how well they can talk and present and sell the business. It's how committed you are to stay the course no matter what happens. So somebody who, it doesn't necessarily mean that if they've been in several positions in a very short space of time, I'm not going to approach them and still approach them, but at least I'm mindful that they may lack some sort of commitment to any one particular thing. So that's what really helps me to determine who I approach first of all. Now, once I determine that, then I add them on LinkedIn. Once they actually have accepted me, the first thing I do is I find something to compliment them on. So the first thing I might say is, for example, if it was Paul, I would say, Paul, that's a nice jacket, by the way, nice shirt. I love that shirt. It's a very nice shirt and a very nice suit, and everything works well. Thank you for connecting with me. By the way, we're actually doing a $1 billion expansion, a US $1 billion expansion into Africa right now. And that's very important because when you're talking to top tier people, they like big money.
Yes.
And they like numbers. Numbers is very important to them. So necessarily approaching them and saying, boy, I'm working on a major project may not speak so much to them, but if you tell them, listen, $1 billion, eyes and ears perk up, and all of a sudden they want to know more. The second thing I'll say to them is that, we're doing a major $1 billion expansion into Africa, and we're looking for business leaders. So right then and there, what I'm doing now is indirectly and in a subtle way, alluding to maybe I think of them as business leaders. So it's almost like stroking the ego to put them in that category that, hey, you may be the type of person I'm looking for because you seem to be a business leader, maybe what I see. I tell them looking for business leaders who would mind earning 10 to 20,000 US per month. That's the figure I typically use because I've actually tried several money ranges and found that the 10 to 20,000 for the top tier people works well. 5 to 10,000, I might say, yeah, it sounds good, but probably not enough to really get me to commit to anything or to even take a look at anything. Too high, they may be seeing, boy, that sounds too good to be true. The 10 to 20,000 iPhone is a good range. Per month, yeah, per month.
So let me stop.
Additional.
Let me stop. Because immediately I start to hear somebody asking a question. So, are you currently earning that? You must get that surprise.
Honestly, I've never gotten that.
You've never gotten?
I've never gotten that there, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually left out a very important part of the script. Okay. One of the things I usually say is a group of successful entrepreneurs. I usually put that before the US $1 billion expansion part. A group of successful entrepreneurs doesn't necessarily have to be me.
Right. Good.
So it doesn't matter if I'm making the money or not. The point is that we have a group of successful entrepreneurs who are making some money. And if you want to partner with us, you can make some money as well. Mm-hmm. So after I mentioned the 10 to 20,000 range, then I say to them, without stopping what you're currently doing. So right away, they know that they don't necessarily have to give up their job. But it's something to supplement what they're currently doing. So I tell them, 10 to 20,000 per month without stopping what you're currently doing. Would you want to know more? I don't ask them if they're interested because they can't be interested in something they don't know what it's about. And I say, do you want to know more on how you can partner with us? So I know it's a partnership, it's an equal partnership at the right time or right now. And the reason why I include right now is that I want to let them know that there's some amount of urgency on actually taking a look at this information because we don't have time to waste.
So do you want to know more of the Peter?
All right, let me go through the entire script in one flow so you can just catch the gist of it. I would say, as I mentioned before, compliment Paul. It's a high quality, that's a nice jacket, by the way. A group of successful, thank you for connecting with me. A group of successful entrepreneurs have just partnered together on a US $1 billion expansion project, and we're looking for a few business leaders who wouldn't mind earning 10 to 20,000 per month without stopping what they're currently doing. Would you want to know more about what we're doing, why, and how you can benefit right now by partnering with us? And once they respond, then what I typically do is, it depends. I could send them to an online presentation for them to take a look, assuming that it's probably outside of somewhere that we don't have any presentation happening. Or if it's within Kenya and Nairobi where we have presentations happening right now, then I'll say to them, listen. Once they've said yes, they want to know more, then I say, listen, our business partners are in Kenya and Nigeria right now, laying the foundation for the expansion. So this would actually be a good opportunity for you to meet with them and get a live picture of what we're currently doing. Live picture, so it gives them the impression that, listen, I can't send you anything over no email. You need to go to the venue, meet with these people so you can understand what we're doing.
Well, all right, sorry. My business partners are currently in Kenya and Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
Currently in Kenya and Nigeria, laying the foundation for the expansion. And it will give you a good opportunity to get a live picture of the vision for Kenya or Nigeria and how you can benefit financially by partnering with us right now. So I restate and re-emphasize the whole fact that it's a partnership and it's right now. And then one of the things I ask them for is I typically give them the meeting details. Mm-hmm. If it's a choice, I say, all right, these are the meeting details, today, tomorrow, next day, X time, which one can you attend? And also, can I have a contact number so that I can have somebody call you to reserve your space or confirm you for the meeting? So that way, by using that, that's how I work in getting their number, because we need their numbers to follow up with them after the meeting.
Right.
And then that's it. Send them to the meeting, connect them with, Mr. Lufum, edify Mr. Lufum, because sometimes what I'll probably do is call them and tell them that, your meeting or your seat has been reserved. My senior business partner, Mr. Dwayne Lufum, is expecting. This is a man that's over 15 years experience in business, very successful, does close to $200,000 US per month business sales in this particular opportunity. So I start to edify Mr. Lufum. So once they get there, they're like, listen, this is no joke thing. You're meeting with serious business people here that making money and know how to make money and how to make use of money. And then that's it.
All right. I just want to get this one part of I'm missing. Business partners are currently in Kenya and Nigeria. Lay the foundation for expansion. Give you an opportunity to get a live picture. Lay the foundation for expansion and to give you an opportunity to get a live picture
of the expansion project.
Okay.
And how you can benefit financially by partnering with us right now.
All right. Give us an idea of a typical day. You mentioned to me that you speak for 2 hours per day.
Yeah.
So tell us about a typical day that you work in LinkedIn.
A typical day.
But I get up.
Well, that's the
season.
That's the thing I'm trying to figure out when exactly the day actually starts, because the day doesn't even have a starting point. All right, let's say.
I'll make this a little bit more vivid. Clearly, you know how to read, you do your affirmations.
Yeah.
Give us an idea of when does what take place for you.
Yeah, that's probably a better question. But let me tell you what I was doing at the time. Because typically what I try to do is wake up at 5 o'clock and do some exercise for an hour. And spend another hour, spiritual time. That's devotional time. Until about 7. That's typical. That's a typical day. But when I'm only sleeping for 2 hours, I don't typically do that. Typically, what I do is I start from 12 a.m. in the morning. Because that's when I know that the people in Kenya and Nigeria typically starting their day, because now they're waking up at that time.
At 7 o'clock.
Right.
6 o'clock.
It'll be 6 o'clock in Nigeria, 8 o'clock in the morning in Kenya.
Okay.
So that's the time I usually spend just sending out messages, just mass messages, connecting with people, sending out messages, connecting with people. Do that for probably about 2 hours, 2-3 hours. Get to sleep about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 5 o'clock again, continue the process for probably like another 3 hours.
Sending out messages.
Get up, I might do some, well, not might, I do some, personal development from like in the morning, because by that time, at 9 o'clock, it's typically like 3 o'clock in Nigeria in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the evening in Kenya. So people typically are leaving work at that time, so they probably won't check their email. So that's the time when I usually spend like doing everything else, like probably planning my day, doing personal development, listening to audios, reading a book, probably getting something to eat at that point in time, and then probably leave out at my house 12, 1 o'clock on the road, come back 5, 6 o'clock, and then from 6 o'clock all the way back to 2, 3 o'clock again. It's just between LinkedIn or planning or, readjusting or, contacting upline and getting calls. I mean, anything OG related then, pretty much.
Who's your upline?
My email upline.
No, you're OG upline.
Pat Myers. She's my immediate upline. Then Mr. Luford and Harry Benjamin. Carl Thompson. Mr. Wilson.
You're OG full time?
Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a few. Okay, so once you make so that first email where you compliment them is where you literally just lay the proposition. So it's just one communication, lay the proposition, inviting them in.
Yeah.
And so you said you have around 50 people on your yes list, but who haven't acted yet.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with them?
Well, typically what I do is I'll follow up with them 2 to 3, maybe 4 times within a 2-week period.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm still not getting a positive response, and I probably just give them a break for a month or 2.
Okay.
And then one of the things I've done recently, which seems to be working very well, is because of the success of my business partner, Eating Safari.
Mm-hmm. What
I do is I re-engage a lot of those people and say, hey, this is what's happening in Kenya, and this is the growth. I just have this lady. She came in, invested $2,000 US, and within 25 days, doubled her investment. Take one of the first leadership levels in the company in less than 30 days. And not only that, but other people below are having success as well. Are ready to get going, and that works very well. It seems to work very well to get people, because I was mentioning, or I think I mentioned it here, that I have another young lady supposed to get started tomorrow, or doing a meeting tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually how I re-engaged her, because the first time, she said she went to the meeting, but boy, she's not sure about this thing. So when I re-engaged her and told her about that, then it got her excited, and then I got her to a Super Saturday training, and then once she saw the training, so she says I'm in.
Okay. For the persons who are not in Kenya, or not in the part of Kenya where we have intro, which of the videos you send them?
Coffee that pays, and from the ground to the cup.
Okay, so the hotel bills and the going to the
cup.
Okay. And the same thing in Nigeria.
Same process. In terms of getting them to meetings, if they're not in Lagos, then sending them online presentation.
Right. And then the other thing is, on LinkedIn, how do you search for? Again, I'm not quite sure what to search on LinkedIn for. Is that you search by country? Is that
no?
How you actually identify them?
I'm trying to go back to when I first got started, because it's a lot easier now, because based on the people I have in my network, then LinkedIn just makes suggestions based on those people.
Okay.
So if you have somebody who's a sales director, then LinkedIn makes a suggestion for somebody else who is in the sales field.
Okay.
I think when I first got started, I think I did search by country, I believe. Yeah, when I first got started. You did search that country. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from you guys? Yeah. Well, I have my other question actually relates to the part that you didn't speak about because you went into the how to do it part. And I think the how to do it part sits on top of the who is doing it part. Alright,
Yeah.
so
I like that.
right. So it says what to do, but who is doing it.
Yes.
So and I think that's really the context for everything else. So could you share with us just like how do you create yourself to be someone who these people want to connect with? And I get the image, I get all of that stuff, but how do you create yourself to be that person that they want to connect with?
That's a very good question because you're talking about close to 3 years.
Yeah,
of development in Organo Gold.
Yeah.
But one of the things I can tell you, and I'm proving this for myself, my initial goal when I first got started, heard that Kenya was about to be open. Put a plan together for the next 15 months starting October. The first 90 days from October to December, my goal was to recruit 20 people. I only recruited 10% of that, which is 2 people. I was talking to a lot of people, but one of the things I realized, one of the defining factors that got me to recruit early in Kenya, and for her hitting Safari, as I mentioned before, that was divine. And I'm not even going to stand here and make it seem like I'm that good. As Mr. Doug says, you're not as good as you think you are, but at the same time, you're not as bad as you think you are. It was a level of faith and intense belief unlike anything before. Anything before. And, it speaks even more so to me now, the whole magic of believing, that audio by Claude Bristol. And in it, he spoke about what really determines your results. It's not so much you speaking it, but it's the intensity and the emotion behind what you're speaking. How much do you feel it, the feeling part of it. And I can remember, let me just tell the story. I can remember being there, speaking to a lot of people, not signing one single one. I mean, everybody tell you, man, I'm going to do it, but not signing anyone whatsoever. And I was at a level of frustration I've never experienced before in Organo Gold. Never. In close to 3 years. I mean, I've always, because if you're in Organo Gold long enough, you've thought about quitting more time than you can count. And, this was actually the first time I said to myself, you know what, this don't make sense. Because probably before I could have had an excuse why I wasn't performing, but this time I knew I was giving it my all and still wasn't seeing the results. And I said, this doesn't make sense. And I remember, being very frustrated to the point that tears coming to my eyes and just kneeling down and praying. I'm like, God, give me a break, please. So it was almost like, well, I still get to that part, praying to God, just please, just send me a breakthrough. And I don't know, it was a level of intense faith and belief unlike anything else. And I remember I got up. The tears still running down and started speaking affirmations. But the thing is that it's almost like I turned the pain into power and I channeled that power to the affirmations I was speaking at that time. So it created a level of intensity and a level of belief unlike anything else before. And I was just doing it, not even knowing what I was doing. And after I finished the affirmation, I go back around the computer and start sending out messages. Like it was just, business as usual.
Right.
And, went to bed the night. I remember being, waking up in the morning by a text message by another business partner and saying, congratulations on your new recruit in Kenya. I'm there wondering what this guy talking about because I had no discussion with Mr. Lufon about signing up anybody or him talking to anybody on my behalf. And that's when I really realized and understood that it's not so much about the numbers, but it's about the belief behind what you're doing that really creates the result. Because not only did this girl, sign in the business, but she went to fight, and that's not normal. That is not normal at all. Anybody in OG long enough know that's not normal at all.
So how soon after that crying experience did it happen?
Literally the next day, like literally the next day. Literally the next day. Like,
Wow.
I'm still blown away by that. Literally the next
But you know,
day.
I was saying that the darkest hour, you know the saying, darkest
Oh, before daylight.
yeah, something like that.
Darkest.
Right, before daylight.
Before daylight.
It's funny you should say this. Two
Yeah.
things come to mind. This morning, I was walking out of my bed at 4 o'clock. Now, somebody put it in a space that they wake up every morning at 4. I said, you know, I've been needing to get up at 4 o'clock. And somebody gave me a secret.
Yeah.
Getting up early at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I meditated and prayed. And I got up at 4 o'clock and I was led to Napoleon Hill. And as I opened the book, the same thing you're talking about is exactly what he said. And he was speaking about the affirmations. But he wasn't speaking about it as an opinion. He was speaking about it as a law. He said, literally, you do this, and this is what your subconscious is going to. The results going to happen in subconscious.
Yeah.
It's not even a question. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they said, the reverse can happen with negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Point into your subconscious. The reverse can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, those affirmations from, Napoleon Hill is
I know last week someone gave it the others.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
If you have read Napoleon Hill,
Yeah, I book it on there.
if you have read it, you haven't read it. It's like a 5th, 6th, and 7th reader.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
just
start from that stuff.
Yeah.
And this
I
is the
don't really get the gospel.
Yeah.
Carry Napoleon all the time. So, you're saying the exact same thing Napoleon.
So one of the things I've been and I recommend this to everybody in this room and even those watching the recording right now. I'll tell you something, Mr. Bugs is a genius. That man is the reason why he's the #1 income earner in the entire industry of 90 million people. When he spoke about getting the What Am I Doing Right journal, trust me. That's before that moment I actually got a journal and started writing. Every time something good or positive happened, as it relates to the business, I wrote in it. And then I was reading through it the other day and realizing that every single time I had a breakthrough or something good happen, it was due to that very same process that we just spoke about, the whole believing and that level of intensity.
What you call it? What am I doing right?
What am I doing right journal? Trust me. So one of the things I've been trying to do is basically recreating the success of when I recruited her. It's basically
right journal.
yeah, like when you're getting results that you want, or when something good happens. One of the things I document is what happened, as in before I got the result, what happened?
Okay.
Yes.
How did I respond to what happened? So what was my reaction? What was the result? And then what was I feeling throughout that entire process? And how you're feeling is the most important part of it. It's not so much what you do, but how you're feeling in that particular moment that it happened. And the feeling is probably the hardest thing to recreate.
Yeah.
You can't fake feelings. Yeah.
Right there. Man, success is exclusively an inside game. It's an inside game.
Yeah.
No success outside unless you're inside. Doesn't matter. Gotta be inside first. Cannot come outside.
Everybody have a price.
Yeah.
Come on, always trying to everybody have a price.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Choice and price. All of us.
It's that each person's price is different.
Yeah.
Great.
And journey.
Great. And the real, for me, the real excitement about this is that everybody have it.
Yeah.
It's not Holton Bucks thing.
No.
Now Napoleon Hill thing. Now it's not any of them thing. All of us can access the same feeling space, the same belief space that Jesus the Christ himself accessed. And does no one of the man say, this too you can do? But we just don't believe that yet. But the moment we believe that, oh my goodness, we walk on water, we fly on. Fly by air. The moment we believe it, we just don't believe it. We just don't believe it.
Yeah, so one of the things I've been studying now is belief and faith together. I mean, forget how to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I already know the how to. I know to present. I know to invite. I know how to sample. Edification, pre-rec. I know to do all that.
Yeah,
it's a belief now. And so some of the things I've been listening to is David Immunity, conceive, believe, and achieve. Not listening. I've been studying it. And one of the things he says, the things that affects our belief. David Immunity is one of the top income earners from the company. Yeah.
And it's all the insights.
Conceive, believe, and achieve. And he spoke about, the environment that you're in, the people who you are around, the information that you receive, whether it's through listening or looking, and the experiences and emotions that you have affect your belief. And speaks about what strengthens your belief is the words that you say, the images you're looking at, and the environment and emotions that you experience. So I've been studying that. Mr. Wilson strongly, and I emphasize the word strongly, recommending the book Anthony Robbins' Unlimited Power.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's a chapter in it on belief that I'm studying.
Unlimited belief.
The book, get the book itself, because the actual.
That book is from the 80s,
Yes.
early 90s.
Yeah.
It's funny. One of my most productive periods was when I was reading Tony Robbins.
Unlimited Power. Yeah.
Tony Robbins. When I was reading him, that same book, Unlimited Power. That's a powerful Tony Robbins.
It's funny you mentioned Tony Robbins because one of the things he speaks very highly about is being in the right state. Being in the right state, which is the same as being in the right feelings and emotions.
Yeah, big state. Yeah.
So belief and faith, studying.
I mean, what's his name? Our current ambassador, Hosea Don, at the convention said, and I keep hearing it, it's got to believe bigger.
Yeah.
It's got to believe bigger, got to believe more, you got to believe bigger, got to believe quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in my own experience, there's a lot of the access to this is discipline. The discipline to because you can believe anything you keep saying to yourself. Mm-hmm. The question is, are you going to say it to yourself? You can believe anything you keep saying to yourself. So, if you have that, well, I'm the most successful blue diamond in the history of direct sales. Half of my team make over 5,000 US per month. Let's say that's what you're saying. The question then is, how often and how intent are you going to say that?
Right. I agree.
Because anybody can say it. There's no. I mean, anybody can say it, but how often will you say? How disciplined will you be in actually keep affirming that and getting yourself worked up in a sweat around that, and then seeing the picture? Then there's some level of discipline to actually do what you know to do to strengthen your belief.
A year ago, Prince said to me, Oliver, he asked one of the richest men, what is the secret? And he said, Prince, what I'm going to say to you is, right, get up every morning at 4 o'clock, meditate, and just think about the day ahead, plot it out, by 7 to 8 o'clock you execute, the rest of the day cruise. And this is where I help everybody. I'm saying the thinking time, you wait until 8 o'clock when everybody rushing, you lost it. Mm-hmm. And that thinking time can involve the the personal development, the reading stuff, feeding in mind. But it's the discipline that you're talking about.
Yeah.
To do it every day. And you stay ahead. In terms of your thinking in the morning when it's calm, you absorb a different energy and the affirmations and everything.
I just thought maybe this for the past 3 months, like a week, so we check it. And then start on it. Try that.
All right. So Winston, just to wrap up, what would you say are the 3 keys to success here in building a business online?
Online. Listen to me, I've already thought about it. I would say posture. So we spoke about posture, very important, especially if you're talking to Portuguese. If you seem weak and timid and uncertain of yourself, then you're not going to want to hear anything that you have to say. Second thing is, as you mentioned, discipline.
But sorry, these guys are talking to online, no. So your posture in what you actually type to them.
Yeah, but the passion doesn't matter if they're on or off, and the energy
sense.
communicates.
It becomes energy. Yeah,
Posture.
I just for clarity.
Yeah, guys.
Yes, for example, when I send somebody that because there are people who have sent that script, who have told me, listen, what is this thing about? And I said, well, my partner's blah blah blah, we're having a meeting, you can attend and get the details. I said, listen, I'm not going anywhere until you can at least share some information about what it's about. So, well, thank you for your time, all the best, enjoy it. And I end the conversation. And I've had 2 occasions where the person have actually responded back to me and said, well, I'm interested. It's not that I'm not interested, but you must understand that I at least want to know, more about it. I said, well, you'd have to go to the meeting. Will you be willing to reschedule or clear schedule to attend the meeting? He says, all right. Yeah, man, I'll do that. So the question, consistency, which goes back to what you mentioned about discipline. Very important. Very important. One of my biggest struggles, even to this day, still is consistency. Because it's going to take some real mental strength to be constantly out there, talking to people and not seeing the result. But one of the things I did when I started out talking to people online is my goal was to expose 2 people per day. Expose means that actually saw presentation. So I started out doing that within my first week. By the second week, up it to 3 people per day. By the end of the month, it was 5 people per day. And then it got to 10 people per day. But the most important thing wasn't necessarily the number starting out. It was developing a habit and a discipline of no matter what happened, 2 people every single day must say Organo Gold presentation, no matter what. Even if it's the last stroke of midnight, 2 people have to really discipline. Yeah. And one of the things I realized that it gave me a different level of focus. Because when you're saying to yourself that, listen, you don't go to sleep or a day doesn't pass unless 2 people sees an Organo Gold presentation. With that, it's almost like you eliminate all excuses. So you're probably going to say, well, I can't find anybody to talk to. You eliminate all excuses because you have to find 2 people to talk to before the end of the day.
Right.
So consistency, and as we just mentioned, belief. The most important one, the belief. Working on the belief that all that you're doing is going to pay off eventually.
Yes. Okay. Winston, I want to acknowledge you, brethren. I acknowledge you for being an example of what it takes to cause and to create your own success from the core gifts that every human can have. A mind to think and the ability to will oneself to success. You don't pay for any of those things, but when you apply them, it's priceless. All right, brethren, I'm going to be with you on stage.
Obviously, better than you think. Obviously,
You know,
better than you think.
at conventions, and I am already celebrating your story, which is our story.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just extraordinary. Extraordinary.
I'll be on stage waiting for the movie.
Absolutely. Okay, great. So, guys who are watching this recording, you know, one of the first things in the step number 4 of Organo Gold is the 18-month commitment. And I don't know if it's I don't know who's on, but whoever is watching this video, this is for you. You know, there is a conversation about the 18-month commitment. And the thing about the 18-month commitment, as they keep saying, it's not a commitment to Organo Gold. It's a commitment to you and your own success. And I would suggest that the most important work you want to do in that 18 months is on strengthening your core belief about your own ability to succeed. And the moment you are absolutely convicted that there is no other option but success, and you find the discipline to do it, it's done. Nobody on the planet can stop us. So, guys, we're going to sign off on that. Watch this video over and over again. I'm sure in a couple of years from now, when we're talking about the greatest, and we resurface this video, we will say this is where it began. All right. All right, guys. All right, Winston, I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Thank you for that.